The galaxy was loud with rumors. Ships moved across stars like insects. Wars happened every cycle. Empires rose and fell. But one region of space stayed quiet. Too quiet. Maps showed it as empty. Charts marked it as low value. Traders avoided it. Soldiers laughed at it. That region belonged to humanity. No one remembered when humans arrived. No one remembered their first war. Only old records spoke of warnings. Warnings most believed were myths. Humanity does not threaten. Humanity does not boast. Humanity does not explain. They only warn once. The enemy empire did not care. They had conquered dozens of systems. Their fleets were vast. Their weapons burned stars. Their leaders believed fear was strength. The enemy high command studied the quiet region. Scans showed no fleets, no defense stations, no patrol routes. To them, it looked abandoned. The enemy admiral stood on the bridge of his flagship. He watched the star map glow before him. Human space was highlighted in dull gray. Worthless, he said. Empty, he said. The council back home agreed. They wanted resources. They wanted dominance. They wanted a victory to inspire fear. So the order was given. Enter the war zone. The enemy fleet moved as one. Thousands of ships tearing through space. Their engines lit the void. Their banners burned bright. They crossed the invisible line. At first, nothing happened. No alarms. No resistance. No messages. Laughter filled enemy bridges. Officers mocked the humans, calling them cowards, calling them myths. Scout ships moved ahead, deep into human territory. Still nothing. Hours passed, then days. The enemy grew confident. They began deploying mining units. They marked planets for harvest. They spoke of victory celebrations. Then a message arrived. It came on all channels. Old, simple, untranslated. Just words. Turn back. The enemy admiral smiled. He ordered the message ignored. They pushed deeper. That was the moment the stars changed. Far beyond sensor range. Something stirred. Deep space shifted. Not with light, but with absence. Enemy sensors flickered. Officers blamed dust or interference. The admiral dismissed it. Then scouts vanished. One by one. Signals cut. Feeds went dark. Still no explosions. Still no battles. Just silence. Unease spread. Junior officers whispered. Veterans checked displays twice. The enemy fleet slowed. Formations tightened. The admiral ordered scans to maximum. That was when they saw it. A shadow where stars should be. Not moving fast. Not moving slow. Moving with purpose. The first human warship emerged. It was massive. Larger than any enemy capital ship. Its surface dark. Its shape simple and brutal. No lights. No markings. No weapons visible. It just waited. Enemy weapons powered up. Target lock screamed. The human ship did nothing. Then more arrived. 1, 10, 100. The void filled with them. Humanity war fleet. They appeared without sound. Without warning. Without fear. Enemy crews froze. This was not a defense force. This was an execution force. The admiral tried to speak, to threaten, to demand surrender. No reply. Human ships formed perfect lines. Their silence heavier than weapons. Energy readings spiked. Not wild. Not rushed. Calm. The enemy realized too late. This was not a battle. This was a correction. The first human weapon fired. No flash. No explosion. One enemy ship simply ceased. Its matter undone. Its presence erased. Panic erupted. Enemy fleets tried to scatter. Engines flared. Commands overlapped. Too late. Human weapons fired again and again. Entire formations vanished, as if they never existed. Space cleared itself. The enemy admiral watched his armada disappear. No debris, no wreckage, just empty space. Tears filled his eyes. He finally understood the warning. Humanity did not fight wars. Humanity ended them. The last thing the enemy fleet recorded was the calm voice of humanity. This war is over. And then silence. The silence after the first strike was heavier than noise. Space itself felt frozen. Enemy sensors screamed errors. Screens showed empty void where fleets once existed. The surviving enemy ships drifted. Engines idle. Crews unable to speak. The human war fleet did not move. They held position like statues carved from darkness. Inside the enemy command ship, panic grew. Officers shouted conflicting orders. Some demanded retreat. Others begged for surrender. The admiral stood still. His mind replayed old forgotten warnings. Stories dismissed as myths. Never force humanity into war. He finally gave the order to fall back. Engines roared. Ships turned. Formations broke. That was when the human fleet moved. Not fast, not slow. They advanced with perfect control. Every human ship shifted forward at the same time. Distance closed. Pressure increased. Enemy ships fired. Desperate beams cutting through space. Human shields absorbed everything. Not a flicker. Not a delay. The enemy realized then. Their weapons were meaningless. Human ships did not dodge. They did not maneuver wildly. They simply approached. New human weapons activated. Space around enemy ships bent. Gravity twisted. Time felt wrong. Entire cruisers collapsed inward. Crushed by forces unseen. Crews vanished without sound. Panic turned into terror. Some enemy captains rammed their own ships into asteroids, choosing death over what was coming. Others shut down systems, hoping to appear dead. It did not matter. Human targeting never missed. Deep within the human fleet, command remained silent. No voices, no emotion. This was routine. Far away, the galactic relay stations activated, recording everything. Messages spread faster than light. Humanity has entered war. Across the galaxy, worlds stopped. Markets froze. Fleets stood down. Ancient species recognized the signs. They remembered what the young races forgot. Human war fleets were never deployed for conquest, only correction. Back in the Warzone, the enemy admiral saw his command ship targeted. Systems failed one by one. Weapons shut down. Shields collapsed. The human ships stopped firing. They surrounded the last survivors. The admiral waited for death. Instead, a signal came. Clear, calm, cold. You were warned. The message repeated. You were warned. The admiral fell to his knees. He understood now. Humanity did not hate. They did not rage. They removed threats. Slowly, completely. The human fleet did not finish the survivors yet. They waited, as if allowing the galaxy to watch and learn. The waiting was worse than the attack. Enemy crews sat frozen inside damaged ships. Lights flickered. Life support whispered. Outside, the human war fleet surrounded them. Dark shapes against darker space. No movement. No sound. Time stretched. The galaxy watched through relay feeds. Every species saw the same image. Human ships holding position. Enemy fleets broken and helpless. Commentators spoke in quiet voices. Historians searched forbidden archives. Elders remembered. This was the pause before judgment. Inside the last enemy command ship, the admiral stared at the human formation. His hands shook. His pride was gone. He ordered a surrender signal. Codes old and formal. Words of submission. The signal was sent. Nothing answered. Minutes passed. Some enemy crews began to hope. Maybe humanity would spare them. Maybe this was only a warning. Then the human fleet changed formation. Slow, deliberate movement. Ships spreading wider, creating space between them. Energy readings rose. Not sharply, smoothly, controlled. Human weapons were not charging. They were aligning. Deep within the human command ship, a single voice spoke. Not angry, not loud. Begin phase 2. The enemy did not hear the words, but they felt the result. Space itself reacted. Stars dimmed. Gravity waves rolled across the war zone. Enemy hulls creaked under pressure. Systems failed again. Even backup power vanished. Crew members floated helpless, strapped to failing seats. Some cried. Some prayed. Some stared into nothing. This was not a weapon meant to destroy ships. It was designed to erase presence. One enemy cruiser vanished. Not destroyed. Not shattered. Simply gone. Its place in space empty. As if it never existed. The galaxy gasped. Human weapons fired again. Another ship vanished. Then another. No explosions. No fire. Existence itself was being corrected. The admiral screamed orders. But his voice was lost. His fleet was not dying. It was being removed. Memory after memory disappeared. Ship names. Crew histories. Entire bloodlines erased. This was why humanity terrified the old races. They did not just win wars. They removed enemies from history. Panic surged through the remaining ships. One captain attempted escape. Engines overloaded. Jump drive activated. Space twisted. The ship froze. Then folded inward. Gone. The human fleet continued calmly. Each shot precise. Each removal deliberate. They were counting. The galaxy realized something horrifying. Humanity had already decided how many would survive. This was not chaos. This was planning. Inside the enemy command ship, the admiral felt the targeting lock. Not on weapons. Not on engines. On identity. His ship was being analyzed. Its data stripped. Its history scanned. Human systems learned everything. Names. Routes. Alliances. Then the lock released. His ship remained. The admiral collapsed. Breathing hard. A message appeared on the main screen. Witness. That was all. Humanity wanted survivors. Not for mercy, but for memory. The final enemy ships were erased one by one, until only a handful remained. Silence returned. The human fleet powered down weapons. Formations tightened. Presence overwhelming. Then at last, a human transmission spread across all channels. To the entire galaxy. This was a response. This was restraint. You crossed the line. The war zone is closed. No further explanation followed. The human fleet did not pursue, did not chase, did not threaten. They simply waited, allowing the galaxy to understand, allowing fear to spread naturally. The survivors drifted, broken, alive. They would carry the message. Humanity does not fight for dominance. Humanity fights to end danger. And once they begin, there is no escape. The survivors floated in silence. Broken ships drifting among empty stars. No engines, no weapons, only fear. The human war fleet remained, not advancing, not retreating, watching. Inside the damaged enemy vessels, crews whispered. Some believed humanity was waiting for reinforcements. Others believed death would return at any moment. Time passed without meaning. Then the human fleet began to change again. Ships shifted positions slowly, forming a wide ring around the survivors. Distance equal, angles perfect. It felt deliberate. Enemy sensors struggled to understand. New energy patterns formed. Not focused, not aggressive. The galaxy leaned closer. This was something new. Human ships released objects. Small at first. Hundreds of them. Drones. They moved without visible propulsion, sliding through space like thoughts. The drones approached the survivor ships. No weapons active. No signals sent. Enemy crews panicked. Some fired last remaining cannons. Others shut down all systems. The drones ignored it all. They attached to hulls, phased through armor, entered ships. Inside corridors, lights flickered. Doors opened by themselves. The drones scanned everything. Crews, data cores, memories, recordings. They were not here to kill. They were here to learn. The admiral watched one drone float past him, its surface smooth, reflecting his terrified face. It did not acknowledge him. His ship shook gently. As systems restarted on their own, screens activated. A human symbol appeared. Simple, old. The voice returned. Calm, measured. Your conflict is finished. Your threat is removed. You remain, not because you deserve mercy, but because the galaxy must remember. The admiral listened, tears forming. He asked why. The human voice answered. Fear fades. Memory remains. Outside, more drones returned to their ships, carrying everything they had taken. Human vessels absorbed the data, processing silently. The galaxy saw the truth. Humanity did not arrive blind. They studied enemies fully before deciding their fate. This war had been planned long before the first shot. The human fleet began powering jump systems. But they did not leave yet. One final act remained. A human ship moved forward, larger than the rest. Older, its hull scarred, its presence heavy. This was not a warship. This was a marker. The ship released an object into the center of the war zone. A structure formed. Dark, immense. It anchored itself to space, emitting a steady signal. Coordinates, warnings, records. The war zone was being sealed. The human voice spoke one last time. This region is forbidden. Entry will be treated as intent. No exceptions. The message repeated, in every known language. Then the human fleet began to withdraw. One by one, they vanished into folded space. No rush, no drama, just certainty. The survivors were left alone, surrounded by emptiness. And the marker, they drifted for days, then weeks. Rescue fleets arrived slowly. Afraid, careful. They saw the marker. They felt the warning. No one crossed it. The survivors were taken home. Their story spread. Empires fell overnight. Alliances dissolved. Fleets disarmed. No one wanted to be next. The galaxy changed course. Not because humanity demanded it, but because everyone understood. Humanity was watching. And the memory of this war would never fade. The galaxy did not sleep anymore. Stars still burned. Routes still opened. But fear traveled faster than light. News of the erased fleet spread everywhere. Not as rumor, not as myth, but as recorded truth. Every relay carried the same images. Ships vanishing, space folding, human silence. Governments panicked. Councils argued. Militaries froze. No one knew how to respond. Ancient species gathered in secret. Beings older than most stars. They had seen cycles of war. They had seen empires die. They spoke one word. Humans. Archives were opened. Sealed records unlocked. Truths hidden for ages revealed. Humanity had never been weak. They had never been behind. They had chosen restraint. After their first wars, after they nearly destroyed themselves, humans learn a lesson. War never ends, unless one side makes it impossible. So humanity built fleets, not to conquer, but to erase threats. And then they hid them. They let the galaxy grow loud, violent, careless, watching, waiting. Back among the survivors, the enemy admiral was taken before his rulers. His body thin, his eyes empty. He told them everything. He spoke of silence, of shadows, of ships larger than cities, of weapons that erased memory. Many did not believe him until the human marker signal arrived. It reached every known capital, every military channel. The message was simple. This was a response, not a declaration. Panic erupted. Some empires ordered immediate disarmament. Others began destroying invasion fleets. Trade routes were abandoned. Entire regions went quiet. But fear was not enough. Someone had to speak. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. For the first time in centuries, all seats were filled. They argued for cycles. Voices rising. Accusations flying. Until a new signal appeared. Humanity had accepted the invitation. A single human envoy appeared. Not in a ship, but as a projection. Human. Small. Calm. No armor. No weapons. The contrast shook everyone. The envoy waited, letting the silence grow, then spoke. You violated the boundary. You ignored the warning. The response is complete. The council demanded explanation, demanded limits, demanded rules. The envoy listened, then answered. Humanity does not seek rule. Humanity does not seek tribute. We seek distance. Do not approach our borders. Do not test our restraint. This will not be repeated. The council asked about the erased fleet, about mercy, about justice. The envoy replied, mercy was given. The galaxy still exists. Then the projection ended. No threats, no demands, just finality. Across the galaxy, fleets stood down. Weapons powered off. Plans rewritten. Wars paused, then ended. No one wanted to draw attention. The human marker became sacred and cursed. A reminder. A boundary. Stories spread among civilians. Parents warned children. Teachers changed lessons. Never provoke humanity. Never enter the war zone. The survivors lived with guilt, with memory, with fear. They were treated as ghosts. Reminders of what happens when warnings are ignored. Humanity returned to silence. No fleets seen. No ships detected. But everyone knew. They were still there. Watching. Waiting. And the galaxy understood. Peace was no longer optional. The galaxy moved differently now. Ships still traveled. Trade still happened. Stars still burned. But everything was careful. Routes near human space were abandoned. Maps were rewritten. Old ambitions quietly erased. No one tested the boundary. The war zone marker remained. Silent. Immovable. Its signal steady. Unchanging. A reminder. Years passed. New generations grew up hearing the story. Not as legend, but as law. Teachers spoke softly when mentioning humans. Commanders changed doctrine. Aggression was replaced with caution. Empires that once ruled through fear weakened. Their fleets rusted in orbit. Their leaders replaced by quieter minds. Peace spread, not because it was desired, but because it was enforced by memory. Far from the watching galaxy, humanity continued. Not celebrating, not expanding. They rebuilt. They refined. They watched. Deep within hidden systems, human commanders reviewed the event. Not with pride, but with acceptance. The response had worked. Threat removed. Message delivered. They hoped never to do it again. But hope did not change readiness. The fleets remained. Silent. Complete. Waiting. Then one day, a signal appeared. Not aggressive. Not military. A small vessel drifted near the marker. Engines weak. Shields down. It stopped far from the boundary. A plea was sent. Not from an empire. Not from a fleet. From refugees. Their world destroyed by civil war. Their leaders gone. Their people starving. They asked for passage. Not conquest. The galaxy froze. All eyes turned toward human space. Would the line hold? Would humanity respond again? Time passed. Then a human ship appeared. Not a warship. Small. Plain. It stopped short of the boundary. A message was sent. State your need. The refugees answered honestly. With fear. With hope. Silence followed. Many believed this was the moment. The galaxy would learn whether humanity was only destruction. The human ship moved forward. Just slightly. Drones emerged. Supplies were transferred. Coordinates sent. The refugees were guided away. To neutral space. Safe. The human ship returned. Never crossing fully. The message was clear. Humanity was not cruel. Only absolute. They would erase threats. But they would not erase need. The galaxy breathed again. The lesson deepened. Respect the boundary. Respect the warning. Humanity did not rule. Did not conquer. They balanced. Years later, no one remembered the enemy empire by name. Their fleets gone. Their history faded. But everyone remembered the war zone. Children dreamed of distant stars and learned where not to go. The galaxy survived because one species chose restraint and enforced it without hesitation. Somewhere beyond maps, beyond charts, human fleets waited, silent, ready, and the galaxy remained at peace. Not because war was impossible, but because the cost was understood.